She's on the ground. So there's...
Who is it?
My mom!
This man has just been informed that his wife has been murdered, but he could never have imagined that his daughter was the one responsible.
What happened? Your wife and daughter got into an argument. She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead. I was too.
On March 3rd, 2020, Ohio police responded to a 911 call at an address in Akron and found Brenda Powell lying on the kitchen floor with 30 stab wounds to her neck. Her daughter, Sydney, was in the house at the time and told the police that it had been a home invasion that turned into a brutal murder. However, despite Sydney also being injured, there were still unanswered questions, and things weren't adding up for the authorities. Brenda had been on the phone with one of Sydney's college professors when she was attacked. During the call, Brenda suddenly screamed before the phone went silent. When the professor called back, a voice on the other end claimed to be Brenda, but the professor immediately suspected that it was Cindy pretending to be her mother. Fearing the worst, he called 911, and first responders arrived in no time. This scream, combined with the professor's call, gave police enough probable cause to forcefully enter the home. What they found inside when they walked through the door was far more shocking than they could have imagined. It reveals itself. The brain wasn't just stabbed. I was also surprised by the iron head. The pot and its injuries are like that. It's destructive that his life is being put into practice balance.
Akron Police! Akron Police! Where's your mom at? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please! Mom!
Man!
She's in the corner now! No!
Stop!
We gotta figure out what's going on. Can you sit down?
R9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Start smart, you just got crime scene. Take her outside. You got, she's blood all over. I don't know, she's pretty loud. Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that. There's a huge pool of blood. No, I think she just walked in on it. There's a broken window in the back. So if you can just put up some crime scene tape. As soon as AFD gets here, they're going to pronounce her, I'm sure.
Sydney, I don't know, Dad. Sydney appears to have been injured as well as suffering from shock and struggling to hold herself together. Even the arrival of her father, Steve Powell, doesn't calm Sydney down. Police need to lock down the crime scene and try to figure out exactly what's happened.
Stop! Hold on, we gotta figure out what's going on. Come on.
Is she gonna be okay?
Come on.
I don't...
Come on. You just need to cooperate with me, all right?
I love my dad.
Huh?
I love my dad.
What happened? What's going on? What's going on?
We heard a bang. We heard a bang. And she told me to get out. And then I heard screaming. So I came back and she was on the ground.
Okay, you heard a
I ran out
bang.
back. There was a bang. Someone broken.
What is your name?
Sydney.
Are you cut?
I don't think so.
Yeah, you're cut
I
somewhere.
don't think so.
Yeah, your hand.
No, I was helping her. I grabbed her.
All right, stop.
I grabbed the knife.
Yeah. What's going on? I don't know. We just got
I'm the dad.
Okay,
Sydney.
what's...
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Daddy!
Inside the house, there's a broken window and the knife used to stab Brenda. But something isn't quite right, as the broken window had blood dripped on the outside of it, leading police to conclude it could have only been broken after Brenda had been stabbed. However, Sydney claims that the intruder used the window to enter and was broken before the attack, leading to the first of many inaccuracies in her story.
The back window's broken in!
So you're gonna have to
Daddy!
inside there? So
I don't know. There was so much
leave the
blood.
house, okay? She's got a minor cut.
With such a serious case and so many unanswered questions, the police take some time to speak with nearby homeowners, trying to gather as much information as possible. But at this point, the only person who seems to be making any sense is Sydney's father, Steve Powell.
Interesting.
It's not you.
Okay, do we know who, where, which way?
That's the younger guy. I'm looking through here and I can see pictures. And there's a whole basement set up for what looks like.
Yep, hey, sorry, I'll call you right back. Bye. All right, let me go report that.
Yeah, there's got a little man. It's probably her brother.
Well, I'll see if we can find out who else lives here.
Trying to piece this puzzle together, the police speak to Steve Powell and one of Sydney's friends at the station, hoping they can provide some insight into what really happened. Unfortunately for Steve, he has no idea that Sydney is the attacker, or worse, that his wife is in critical condition at the hospital and likely won't survive. This is something the detectives will have to break to him sooner rather than later.
That's my wife and there's my daughter.
How old's your daughter?
She'll be 20 in March. She's 19 minutes. Is she coming out?
Yeah. Not yet. So just can't hang out. Sydney, can you tell me what happened? Huh? Sydney. Sydney.
On his way?
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, that's him right there. I can hear him.
Hey, boss. Hey, down there.
What Sydney hadn't told her parents was that she had been kicked out of college weeks before the attack and had been lying to them ever since. However, she did confide in her friends, including Lauren, who lived in the same dorm.
Got a call from him calling me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I called Brenda, and it rings and rings. Oh, so no answer. I call Sydney back, rings and rings and rings. No answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call G back, because I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer. My doctor calls me back and said, oh, Mom's on the phone with me, with Mount Union. I said, well, the cops are on the way. And she went, there's been a break-in, and she just started going off. She said, well, there's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere. She was hysterical and crying.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone about me.
Yes. And as soon as I said, cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last, maybe a couple weeks.
Establishing Sydney's state of mind leading up to the incident will be crucial for detectives to determine whether she simply snapped or if the attack was premeditated. The problem is, Sydney is going to claim that she has no memory of what happened during the entire ordeal. In fact, she bases her entire defense on the assertion that she blacked out and even tries to use insanity as her defense. This leaves the police with no solid proof that Sydney is the guilty party. However, they are beginning to uncover that she was hiding secrets from just about everyone.
And so you've been friends ever since your freshman year at St. B?
Mm-hmm.
Go over each other's houses, everything like that?
Yep. Well, she started off in exercise science freshman year, her first semester. But then she didn't like the classes, so she switched over to psychology and sociology. But then she didn't really like that, so this year she switched to education, and then she didn't like that either, and that's one of the reasons she left, is because she really couldn't find what she liked. I think she struggled in her classes. I don't think her grades were the best, but she didn't really tell me that, because I wasn't really struggling. I think she kept a lot of stuff hidden, because when we were just talking or with our friends, she always seemed happy. Like, she seemed okay, like I said, I couldn't tell. Until the end, where she was kind of just like struggling, and she kind of was sad, and just like, Lauren, I don't know what to do. I think she felt like everybody around her kind of had figured out what they wanted to do, and she had it.
Lauren knew something was wrong and tried to help. At first, she had no reason to doubt Sydney and was as supportive as any friend could be during such a time. But even Lauren began to grow suspicious of Sydney's evasive behavior, noticing things that didn't quite add up.
Well, I know she's had anxiety for a while, but I don't I think it was this last semester, like starting coming back in January, was when it really started, that she was kind of more like upset because she really didn't know what she wanted to do. Like, my friends and I were worried for her because we didn't know what was going on because she didn't tell us, and
By this point, Sydney had become tangled in a lie she would struggle to escape. Instead of coming clean, she tried to convince her parents that college just wasn't working out for her. She suggested that they could sink a lot of money on tuition if she left to pursue other things, hoping to cover up the truth with a plausible excuse.
I could tell she was getting more upset, like more sad. And I told her, like, I'm here, like, you can tell me, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here. But she never really opened up until she was leaving and saying that she was struggling with school and that she was kind of trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when I started to try to help her.
Let's talk about this. You're her best friend, and I know this is difficult, but tell us about her relationship with her parents.
Her and her parents had a really good relationship. Like, her mom and her were best friends. Probably, like, they did everything together. Like, one of the reasons she went home was to be with her mom. They were always close. She never said anything bad about her mom. She never ever talked about having an argument with her mom. Like, I can't recall every time she'd be going home, she's like, I can't wait to see my mom. Or when she goes home for weekends, she'd be like, oh, my mom wants me to come home so we can hang out and like watch movies. And she loved being home.
But that's not what she told her friends. Instead, Sydney confided in them that she had been kicked out of college, leaving out the fact that she had been hiding this from her parents all along. Her story to her friends was far different from the one she presented to her family.
You're not going to school. She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school, and I don't really like what I'm doing, and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20. You need to figure it out.
Lauren's suspicions were proven right. Sydney had been lying to her friends. At the same time, she was also deceiving her parents, who had no idea about her issues at college. That is, until they received a phone call from Sydney's professor. Alarmed, Steve and Brenda began crisis talks, trying to uncover exactly what was going on with their daughter.
She's talking to you about, the problems she's having at school. Did she mention that she tried talking to her parents?
Yeah, I know she definitely, especially when she left, she talked to her mom about leaving. They kind of made that decision together to leave them out. Like, she told them that.
Sydney became tangled in two sets of lies, the story she told her friends and the one she told her parents. Failing grades aren't the end of the world, and any parent would want to support their child through such challenges. But it seems that Sydney feared her parents would be angry, and she couldn't bring herself to admit that she had been asked to leave college.
I called my wife from my daughter's home. She picks up, she was working down at Children's. And she goes, what's wrong? And I basically told her, I said, Sydney, I think the reason we can't get on is because she's unenrolled. She hasn't been going to school.
When did the suspects of Sydney detectives break? Rand spoke on the university phone. I tried to hide his lies with my teacher. His mother was cut forever. The problem is that Sydney is claiming it. She doesn't remember anything but this. She seems to be decisive. Reckless error to allow. Detective takes a piece of Sydney. I caught an iron pan and defeated it. Mother's lower position before loading. Steak pasting over 30 times on the neck. She then blamed herself for her mother defined to try phone and hacking. I'll cover it.
That's what she was doing, and she said she was good. Like, she acted like what we would see as normal. Like, she was laughing, she was having fun. She said she got jobs because she worked at the Akron Rubber Ducks. She's worked there for a couple seasons, so she was gonna go back there. And then she also said she was looking for another job, and like everything was good, and she was trying to figure out like her next year and all this stuff. And she was gonna talk to her parents about housing, trying to come back to Mount.
Once she got to Mount Union, or anytime actually, did Sydney ever drink alcohol at all, or she did? Okay, just kind of describe that for us.
She liked to drink. There was an incident in the fall of our freshman year where she drank too much, and she wasn't alcohol poisoned, but she did end up in the hospital. Her mom came and got her at like 2 in the morning. Usually after that, her and I were together, and if she did drink, I usually kind of like slow her down after I know kind of her limit because she's small.
Sadly, Brenda didn't survive her ordeal and passed away in the hospital. The county coroner's medical examiner concluded that Brenda died from blunt force trauma to her head and multiple stab wounds to her neck. her death was ruled a homicide. This left detectives with the heartbreaking task of delivering the tragic news to Steve that his wife was dead.
I made it in far enough to see the back fenders. When you go into the front door, you come around the kitchen, you go in, you can see there's like a pass-through between the kitchen and the family room. From the back of the house, I could see the right hand, there's two big sliding windows. I could see that window was clearly, it looked like it was busted. Went down the hallway probably about 2 feet, just didn't see blood all the way down the hallway.
Detectives investigated Sydney's claims that an intruder was responsible, but their findings didn't align with her story. The evidence was painting a different picture altogether, leading the detectives to the painful conclusion. This left them with one final devastating task, telling Steve that his own daughter had killed his wife.
Well, not really bad news. Your wife passed away.
What happened?
I don't think someone broke into the house. I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument, not physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. Did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated arguments?
This is not possible.
Your son's outside, but he doesn't.
My son's here?
Yes.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know.
Take your time. There's no rush for me.
It's simply impossible to imagine the turmoil Steve must be going through at this moment, his wife murdered and his daughter the main suspect. As the pieces begin to fall into place, Steve finally realizes the detectives might be right, leaving him with the unimaginable task of delivering the news to his son.
Clearly they think Sydney did this. I lost 2. She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead.
You know, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they find out exactly what happened. Nothing's definite as of yet. They still have to do their investigating.
And where's Andrew? He just sit out there by himself or see with?
Family or something.
Well, yeah, I don't want anybody in here with me. I don't want anybody. I just want me in here. That's legal. I don't care.
You don't want any of us?
I don't want any of you. No, I just want Andrew.
So you just come ahead
Yeah,
when you're
I
ready,
will.
okay?
They don't know. They haven't told me. They're investigating.
Sydney was arrested and charged with the murder of Brenda Powell. Initially, she claimed insanity, saying she had almost no memory of what happened, including hitting Brenda with the cast iron skillet and fatally stabbing her. However, the jury didn't believe Sydney's defense, and she was found guilty on 2 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. Sydney Powell was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years.